The colony of Arcadia was one of humanity's most distant outposts, nestled on a lush planet in a far-off system. For decades it had flourished, its people cultivating new technologies, expanding trade routes, and establishing a model of peaceful coexistence with the neighboring alien species. Earth had watched over it from afar, a proud parent to its child far from home. There was no immediate threat to their existence, until one fateful day. It began with a strike, a sudden, brutal attack by an unknown alien fleet. The peaceful colony was obliterated in an instant, its cities reduced to ash and rubble. Not even the most advanced defense systems could have prepared them for the sheer ferocity of the assault. The human colony, once thriving with over 1 million inhabitants, was gone in less than an hour. Back on Earth, news of the attack spread quickly. The vast communication networks that linked humanity's colonies and homeworld buzzed with panic. The colony's last transmission was a desperate cry for help, but by the time Earth's leaders received it, it was too late. The destruction of Arcadia was not just a tragedy, it was a direct assault on humanity's future. For the first time in centuries, humanity faced a real threat, and the consequences were swift and severe. In the halls of the United Earth government, the response was immediate. Earth's leaders, still shaken by the loss, knew one thing: they would not allow this act of aggression to go unpunished. For far too long, humanity had remained a quiet observer, watching as the galaxy's major powers fought their wars and settled their disputes. Now humanity would make its presence known, and the galaxy would remember why it had once feared Earth. Admiral Thomas Gray stood on the bridge of the Vindication, one of Earth's most formidable warships. His face was grim as he watched the fleet assemble outside Earth's orbit. In the wake of the attack, Earth had made a decision: retaliation. It would be swift. It would be overwhelming. "Admiral," said his first officer, Lieutenant Carter, "the fleet is ready. 700,000 warships are in position. We're ready to launch." Gray nodded slowly, the weight of his decision settling on him. He had fought in countless battles, but this was different. This was not a skirmish between two powers. This was a declaration. Earth was no longer just a part of the galaxy. It was going to reshape it. "Send the message," Admiral Gray ordered. "The galaxy needs to know who we are." The transmission was short but powerful, broadcast to every corner of the galaxy. "Humanity does not forget. Those who destroy our colonies will learn that Earth does not tolerate threats." In the Zarnok cluster, deep in the galaxy's outer rim, the unknown aggressors had already begun to celebrate their victory. They believed that the destruction of Arcadia was just one of many victories to come, that the human race, so small and insignificant in their eyes, would collapse in the face of their power. They had no idea that they had awoken a sleeping giant. As the Zarnok forces reveled in their triumph, they received the transmission from Earth. The galaxy's major powers, those who had been in contact with the humans for centuries, watched in silent disbelief as the message spread. But the Zarnok, led by their ruthless warlord Garok, sneered at the threat. They had never heard of a human retaliation like this. The galaxy's peace had been shattered, but the Zarnok were confident that Earth could do nothing to stop them. Garok's forces had been the ones who destroyed Arcadia. He had hoped for an easy conquest, but he had underestimated the resolve of humanity. In his arrogance, he ordered the preparation of his fleet for further expansion. As the massive human fleet set course for the Zarnok cluster, the galaxy held its breath. The scale of the retaliation was unprecedented. 700,000 warships, each bristling with advanced weaponry, each capable of wiping entire fleets from existence, were now moving with one purpose: the destruction of the Zarnok Empire. "Admiral." Gray stood at the center of the Vindication's bridge, his voice calm but resolute. "We will not falter. These warships are not just ships. They are the will of humanity. The destruction of Arcadia was a declaration of war. Our response will be our legacy." Under his command, Earth's fleet moved with precise synchronization. The ships formed tight battle groups, each one a fortress in itself, bristling with energy weapons, plasma cannons, and missile pods. Every vessel was equipped with the latest technology humanity had developed over the last few centuries. Technologies that had been honed in secret, waiting for this moment. The journey to the Zarnok cluster took days, but it felt like an eternity. Every human on Earth was watching, waiting to see if their fleet would succeed or fail. The leaders of the galaxy's major powers, from the Valden to the Crocs, also watched with keen interest. Some were hopeful, others were terrified. No one could predict how this battle would unfold. When the human fleet arrived at the Zarnok homeworld, it was met with the overwhelming force of Garok's fleet. The Zarnok warlord had expected a conflict, but what he saw was beyond anything he had ever imagined. The human warships arrived like an unstoppable tide, their weapons firing with pinpoint accuracy. The battle was intense. Zarnok warships were powerful, but they were no match for the sheer scale and coordination of the human fleet. The Zarnok had underestimated Earth's capacity for war, and now they were paying the price. Within hours, Earth's fleet had shattered the Zarnok defenses. Explosions filled the sky as Zarnok ships crumbled under the onslaught. Garok, watching the devastation unfold, realized too late that the humans were not like any other race he had encountered. Their response was not just a retaliation, it was a message. The Zarnok Empire was crumbling before the might of humanity's resolve. As the last Zarnok warship fell, Admiral Gray issued the final command. Target the Zarnok capital. Let them know that we will not stop until every last vestige of their threat is eradicated. The humans fired the final blow, reducing the Zarnok capital to a smoldering ruin. The Zarnok were no more, their empire scattered across the stars. Back on Earth, the news of the victory spread like wildfire. The destruction of Arcadia had been avenged, and the galaxy had learned a powerful lesson. Humanity would no longer be a passive player in the grand scheme of the galaxy. They had returned, and they were not to be underestimated. The message from Earth was clear. Any who dare threaten humanity's colonies will face the full force of the human will. The galaxy would never be the same again. The age of humanity had arrived,